And one of the biggest lessons that I learned in that period was the first thought that came to my mind was, I wish I stayed with hip hop. I wish I stayed doing what I was doing because you are not going to rob my articles, you know?
Yeah.
But lucky enough for me, my mindset was so positive at the time. It wasn't long before I was like, no, man, we need to make a plan. We cannot give up, you know? And we made a call to...
This is Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We enthuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes in BW and beyond. Hello, dear viewer, dear listener out there in cyberspace. It gives me tremendous pleasure to bring you yet another episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We've been doing this, guys, for 6 years together, and we always find the best and the brightest. Entrepreneurship is thriving in our community. I've crossed the border. I've come all the way here to Sandton, South Africa, and I have in the studio, our makeshift studio here in Sandton, Darryl Nyamutsamba, who is my guest. And let me, before I ask her to introduce himself, just mention that he's an entrepreneur of note, and he's been... he mentioned to me that he only gets 2 or 3 hours of sleep, which gives you an idea of how busy he is and how hardworking he is, and you'll find out exactly how his modus operandi works. Please take notes, guys. You're going to learn so much. But a little bit of housekeeping. The book, Nuggets of Grit, is here from my journey from the cattle post to serial entrepreneurship. And please support us. Get hold of the book. It will impact you. It will empower you. It's only $350 in Pula terms, and it's available from Exclusive Books at Airport Junction. And I'm trying to arrange with the Exclusive Books here in Sandton, and I'm still going through the formalities. It will soon be available also from Sandton Exclusive Books. But in the meantime, you can get it also from first floor Mogobe Plaza. But let me turn to my guest, Darryl Nyamz, and we're also going to talk about his company, Shara. And we've been wanting to get together for a while. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of pleasure to be talking to a young, successful talent like yourself. But just share the background, where it all started, which schools you went to, etc.
Yeah. Successful, it feels like a destination a lot of times when people talk about success. And it's very interesting how when you're on this journey, you barely ever feel like you've made it. There's points where you do things that you always wanted to do, but by the time you get there, you're looking forward. Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Nyamz, a.k.a. You see, I say Mr. Nyamz, a.k.a. Darryl Nyamutsamba. Very few people know me as Darryl Nyamutsamba. I grew up in Zimbabwe, in Harare. I went to a primary school called Lerumo Primary School, and then went on to Churchill Boys High for high school. The Bulldogs were like a very incredible school. The time that I did study, though, it was the time when things were really bad in Zim. 2008 is when I think started my Form 1, and there were no teachers in class.
Really?
When I was in Form 1 and Form 2, teachers really only came back. There were a lot of strikes at the time. I think the whole world economy was coming down 2008. I think
it was the economic meltdown.
Yeah, it was a meltdown. I think that was the real estate meltdown, right? Yeah. So 2008, 2009, we were really affected with everything that was going on in Zim. The teachers were not in class, which is when I sort of fell in love with music. I started, the teachers came back when I was in Form 3. You know, O levels, something
How did you study without teachers?
I did not study. I was making music. I was making music and playing football. I loved football so much as a youngster. Yeah.
And what happened there? You graduated?
I passed my O levels, my ordinary levels. I couldn't believe it myself because we spent 4 years preparing for this test, and I only got 2 years. I'll say 1.5 because halfway through 2010 is when things started stabilizing. So through the grace of God, I managed to pass my O levels. But now I was so in love with the music because I spent 2 years focused on making music. But my father used to say to me, this thing does not make money in this country. If you can name 5 people who have made money doing music, you know, then I will let you go down this path. But you have to go to school. So I then enrolled into Spaces College, where I was studying my business administration diploma. Spaces College.
Oh, the name of the college, Spaces.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. I was studying my business management diploma. But again, my passion was calling so loud. Interesting enough, every time there were tests coming where I have to study, the more I read, the more I felt like doing music. So I was most distracted when I was really trying to read, you know. Yeah, and I told my dad, you know, I think I need to go this way.
So music was your calling?
Music was really my calling. It's interesting when I look back because I think music, I'm a hip-hop artist, right? Hip-hop is known for marketing. If you look at like the billionaire list, you know, recently, I know P. Diddy's no more on the list because he has a lot of scandals. Jay-Z, Kanye West, all these they're musical artists, but their strength really lies in marketing. So hip-hop teaches you how to market a lot. A lot of the biggest alcohol brands right now is because of hip-hop. The artists know how to push. It's in the culture to like push and brand, you know. So I didn't know that I was gonna fall in love with marketing because of this. Yeah, so that is how I ended up in South Africa.
Okay, that's wonderful. And how far did you go with the musical career?
So because of the conversation I had with my dad, knowing that a lot of artists are not making much money in music, I started studying the back end of this music thing. So where are artists supposed to make their money, you know? So the more I studied, I decided to come up with a platform called Youth Village Zimbabwe. You know, I collaborated with a company in South Africa called 980 Media. They had Youth Village SA, you know, and we started this media platform where I got to meet all the artists because I needed an entrance into the industry. So I used this platform as a opportunity to meet the artists who are actually working and making a living out of the music, to get a clear understanding of, you know, what issues they're facing in the industry, you know, and why it's not paying as well as we hope it would be like other countries, you know. So I got to meet a lot of these artists and I realized they really didn't have money. My dad was right, you know. Then I approached this company again. I said, right now, South African hip hop is bubbling under. I would love to start an online hip hop magazine called SA Hip Hop Mag.
SA what?
SA Hip Hop Mag, which went on to become the biggest online hip hop magazine in South Africa. This was 2015. I moved in April of 2015. By the end of 2015, I won a Young Achiever Award at the ZAA because the platform that I was able to grow had done 100,000 users on Facebook, 100,000 on Instagram, with 150,000 unique visitors on the website.
This was way back when?
2015.
Wow.
Yeah, at the time, this is where my work ethic was developed because every time I talk to young people, I talk about passion. It's something that we tend to neglect because we so focus on the money. But when you're passionate about something, that what you're doing, you tend to not feel like you're working. So that's where my work ethic comes from, because those days I used to work like every single day from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. You know, no social life.
I like saying that's when your vocation becomes your vacation. When they overlap, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
You're enjoying. It's like you could be doing this for free, but you get paid.
You get paid for it. And I got to then interact, you know, a kid coming from Harare, watching DSTV. I'm seeing AKA on TV. I'm seeing Casper Nyovest on TV. I'm seeing Ricky Rick on TV. And because of this hip hop mag, I get to hang out with these guys and be with them in studio. Wow. So it's like, as much as I wanted to be an artist, I was literally living vicariously through them. At the same time, I was doing the research of the back end of the music industry on how they make money and how they run the industry.
Yes.
You know? So I got to learn a lot in that period, but the main thing that I learned without even knowing was my marketing skills.
Wow. And is there a particular piece of music that did well during that era?
For me?
Yes.
I literally stopped doing music and I focused on the publication.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to understand the business. Because, you know, when you go to music school, you learn more about how to play instruments, but not the business of music. You know?
But I guess what I'm asking you, of when you're still dabbling in music, did any piece do well? Because I've seen you on YouTube doing things that look like it's good music.
Yeah. So what you're seeing is the future, because I stopped doing music at that time.
Oh.
I only came back into the studio in last year in April.
Really?
Yeah. And I won my first award in music last year in December.
Okay.
You know, yeah. So
with a song called
with two songs actually. I was voted the Hustler of the Year at the Zim Hip Hop Awards. I only released 2 songs, which is the crazy part. Yeah. So a song called Gucci and a song called The Saga, featuring Young Gemini. And Gucci features Buffalo Soldier.
Wow.
Rick is produced by GT Beats.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was the biggest discovery when you started the musical part? I mean, the business part of music.
It was literally marketing and me learning that everything is intertwined in this point in time that we live in because of the internet. 2016, I met a girl called Tanya Nari, and I fell in love with her. But she saw how much I was putting into this online publication, but I was not making much money from it. She is a cum laude graduate, she's an accountant, and you know, she was doing well for herself at the time. I think I was making like 5,000 to 6,000 rands a month. She was making 28,000, you know, and she had just graduated. She was headhunted. And she said to me, she has an idea. She wants to start a business. She has an idea for a company called Shara Hair, you know, but she didn't know how to go about the marketing. But I had managed to build this platform to 150,000 people, and I wasn't making much from it. And then she sat me down one day, and she showed, you know, when women talk to you, they know how to talk to you nicely, you know. So she shows me the numbers. She shows me, if we buy this piece for 1,000, we can sell it for 1.5. And if you can advertise
piece of what?
Of hair.
Yeah.
If we can sell this piece, we'll make.
This is still in 2015.
This is now 2016.
16. Okay.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? You know that I know how to market. To be honest, I was publication and retail are 2 different things, right? But I just sold her the dream that, listen, I will take this business to R1 million in no time. So I need half the company, or else there's no deal. And she said, okay. Then we split the company, and the journey
started.
Yeah, my business journey starts right there. Yeah.
Basically, what type of hair and what is the modus operandi of the business? I mean, what is the business model?
I would like to break this down through a story. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Okay, so in 2016, we go ahead. I tell her. She says, "Okay, let's do it." How are we? What are our steps? She says to me. I say to her, "Let's do a photo shoot." That was the first thing. We don't have enough. I saved up 10,000 rands, but also she knew she was taking a risk. She says, "I have 10,000 rands." I knew she had more than that, you know. So we put this money together and said, "What do we do with this 20,000?" We spent 6,000 on a photo shoot. We got one of the best photographers in the country. You know, they charged us 6,000 for a shoot. We did not have models. We used her friends and her family, you know, to do the photo shoot. We bought a couple here with the rest of the money. We did the photo shoot, and we started the Facebook page and the Instagram page, and started doing Facebook ads, right? So we are obviously early into Facebook ads. Well, right now, everyone runs Facebook ads and Google ads, but at the time, most people were not running these ads. But because of my passion, which is hip-hop, I spent so many hours online, and I learned this skill, not knowing that I was going to use this skill very, very soon. In 2016, in June of 2016, we did the photo shoot. By November, we both quit our jobs, you know, because now
sales.
The sales were moving. She was making 30K. We were now able to make 30K in like 5 days or 6 days. You know? So the cash flow, the money started coming in. And at that point, I said, listen, hip hop, I love you, but I need to go get this money, you know. and I let go of hip hop at that point. A year into the journey, by June of 2017, we looked at the statement and we had generated over 500,000 rands, you know, that
in
had
a
passed.
Space
of almost a year, you know.
Mm.
And for us, that was a lot of money because we were like 21, 22. And we had enough money to buy a car. We bought a Hyundai Santa Fe from SMD. For those who don't know, SMD is where, you know, this company that sells accident damaged cars, right? So we knew we wanted a big car, but we couldn't afford it. Bought a car that was accident damaged, fixed it. We spent 80,000 to fix it up to 120. And, you know, we had this car and business was now moving. We made a bit more money that year, 2017. We opened a shop, end of 2017. In Elof Street. So this is in the middle of Johannesburg CBD. You understand? So that's, you know,
A retail shop.
But a very small shop, like maybe the size of this table. You know, we just put the doors on the wall and let our clients have a place to come instead of coming to our apartment, you know. Business really started doing well, and we started building relationships with the factories overseas because they noticed that you guys started with so little. But now every time you're ordering, it's now 50,000. You know, it moved from 10,000 to 15,000 to 20,000 every week. You know, we're spending money with the suppliers, you know, and
What was the product exactly? Can you just share some of that? Is it Brazilian hair?
Yeah, Brazilian, Peruvian hair was the main thing that we're selling at that point.
Is it actual hair or synthetic hair?
It's actual hair, but you know what they do? They kind of mix it in with other chemicals and other textures to make sure that it lasts longer. Yeah. Because obviously it's not a living thing anymore because it's not on someone's head.
Yeah.
So they kind of have to preserve it. Yeah. So that's what we're selling.
Okay.
And that's all we're selling at that point. And business did well. These Chinese guys said, you need to come out to China and meet us because we believe in what you're doing. We flew to China February 2018, and the first thing we did was say, if they are calling us, there's so much potential in this thing. So we went to Guangzhou, which is where, you know, everything is sold.
I've been there a few times. Several times.
But it wasn't what we expected because when you get there, you're expecting the shop. We get into one shop and you find the hair that you need. But we realized this building so tall where they're selling hair from top to bottom, you know, and by the time you get to the third floor, you're confused. You know what I mean? And so we arrived in China before our meetings, 2 weeks before. So it ended up being a holiday because Guangzhou, some of the hair we'll buy, she'll try it on 3 days. It goes bad, and, you know, the quality is not what it seemed to be. 2 weeks later, we flew to the Henan province. We met the first factory that we're dealing with. I don't remember the other 2 provinces we went to, but in the Henan province is where we met the supplier that we ended up spending our money with. We had saved up 500,000 rands at that point. We left, we did the transfer and flew back to South Africa. Because we had spent a large amount of money, they said, we're going to deal with customs for you, you know, which is obviously the biggest headache when you're in business and importing product. They dealt with customs for us. May 25th, I remember this day very, very clearly, of 2018. Obviously, it's payday. On that day, from the morning, 9 a.m. to like midday, people were coming in so much. And I think we had made like, on standards of that day, we had made like 20,000 rands in cash. And I think we had swiped like 15,000, you know. So it's a great day. Around 11 a.m., the cargo guys arrive with big green bag full of hair. We're so excited. They come, they put it beside the counter, but we did not have even time to open it because it was such a busy day. We weren't even getting a chance to eat. You know, that's how busy it was. And it was just me and her in the store at the time. At, let's say, 12:15, the shop just went quiet. And
why?
I mean, maybe it was lunchtime. People weren't coming anymore. You know, so for us, it was like, whew, finally we can get lunch. We haven't eaten all day. And when just 2 minutes into that quietness, and we're thinking, okay, maybe we could count the money, you know, and see how much we've made and go deposit. One guy just walked in and, you know, friendly guy asked, oh, how much is that? Oh, 2,000. How much is that? 3,000. He's okay. I want to buy something for my girl. I'm coming back. Let me get my wallet. He goes outside. When he walks back in, I didn't know his wallet was his gun. You know, he has a gun and 3 other gentlemen walk in with him. And they, you know, this guy literally put the gun on my head and said, just feel it. And it was so cold, you know. And he just said, okay, bring everything, pack everything. We literally packed the hair, that we had, including the cargo bag. These guys were so ruthless, they even took the
cash.
and the cash, everything. And our cell phones, you know. They were so ruthless, they even took the dolls.
Oh, man.
Imagine that. They took the dolls and left. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned in that period was, the first thought that came to my mind was, I wish I stayed with hip hop. I wish I stayed doing what I was doing, because you are not going to rob my articles, you know. But lucky enough for me, my mindset was so positive at the time. It wasn't long before I was like, no, man, we need to make a plan. We cannot give up, you know. And we made a call to...
You took the entire stock and all the cash.
Everything.
How much at the end of the day did you lose that day?
Maybe 550,000 rands, you know, which was a large amount to kids that age. It's still a large amount right now, you know, but at that point, I felt like Bill Gates, you know. And now
where were the police? I mean, where are the guards for the mall? Where is everybody?
The crazy part about it is when we watched the footage, the guard actually walked past the store whilst this was happening. Imagine.
So it could have been an inside job.
Could have been an inside job. Till this day, we don't know what exactly happened. Because
nobody investigated.
The police did investigate, and they got back. Big shout out to SAPS, because I think they really put a lot of effort into it. They got a bit back, but by the time they got it, it had been sold to so many people. But what they got was like 50,000 rands worth of stock, and it wasn't that much to us at the time, you know. But anyway, we made a call the next day to the guys that sold us the hair. We told them what transpired. One of my of Tanya's cousins was here on holiday.
Tanya is your partner?
Yes, my business partner, and who's now my wife.
Oh,
yeah!
Congratulations!
Thank you so much.
It went that far.
Yeah, no, it didn't die. It didn't die.
Yeah.
So they were here on holiday. His name is KJ, and these guys, we told them that we need some stock. We need credit because we have no money. We spent all our money with you and we lost all the product. And lucky enough, Mr. Lee, the Chinese owner we had a great time in China. A lot of Chinese people don't drink. They smoke cigarettes. But when we went to this dinner with this guy, he drank. So me and him got along so much. You know, we enjoyed some Chinese alcohol together. So he kind of had a soft spot. And he said, don't worry. We have a lot of stock there right now. They sent stock the next day. Luckily, because we had bought the car, we just said to KJ, can you stay in the store with half of the stock? We split the stock. We gave him 50,000 rands worth of stock in the store. We packed the other 50,000 into the car. Went on Facebook, put out an ad. We are coming to Mpumalanga. You know, we're going to do pop-ups, you know. And we said venues to be announced with no venues. And a lot of people from Mpumalanga commented. And we called News Cafe in Witbank. I spoke to the guy. I explained my situation to him. He says hair does not go along with food.
With food, okay.
Yeah, you know, because it's News Cafe, so lunchtime, people are here to eat. And I said, please give us like a corner and we just have a pop-up. We attract females, so females attract men. So trust me, News Cafe is going to be packed the day that we come. And luckily he believed my story. I did not know what I was talking about. But that is exactly
You're
what...
a salesman.
Yeah, I was
you're painting a picture.
Yeah. And he said he ended up agreeing. We went to Witbank. By the time we got to Witbank in the morning, we could not believe our eyes. There were people that were blowing up our phone. There was a line of like 25 people saying, I need to go to work. And you guys said you're going to be here by 9. We got there at 9:30. And they were so angry. But still they had not left. You know? And when I asked one of the girls, like, why didn't you leave? They said that because people have been talking about you guys coming. We see you guys on Facebook, but we do not believe that it's a real company. You know, people are now comfortable ordering things online. At the time, people were not. There were a lot of scams. And then, you know, we sold all the stock that was supposed to take across Mpumalanga in one city. And we called them. We said, we're going to send back this money.
Wow.
You know, we made, let's just say, 75,000 rands because we lowered our prices. So there wasn't much profit. We sent him the 75K. He sent us more stock and we continued our journey. By the time we were done the tour of Mpumalanga, we had been able to pay back all the money that we're owing this guy and some, you know. And then we said, okay, maybe there's a big opportunity here because the store is actually running, without us. Maybe I have some more, I apologize.
No problem.
The store is actually running without us. Maybe we need to go to another city. And we put up dates for what's this area with East London? In the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
We drove down to the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
Same thing happened. We sold out. We drove to the Western Cape. We sold out. We drove to KZN. We sold out. We drove to Free State. We sold out. By the time we were done with this tour, it was around close to Black Friday, right? Now, because KJ had obviously gone back to school, we got our first employee at that point. And by the time we got back, the thing that surprised us the most, we had 0 couriers when we left. We never used to courier the hair out of Joburg. But when we got back, and we were asking her, so many clients are coming to the store. She said to us, no, they're not coming. We're sending out courier, you know?
Wow.
And she had made a plan for courier bags and stuff like that. And all this stock was now going out because these people outside of Johannesburg believed that we were a real company because they had touched our blood. They had seen us in person. They had interacted with us, you know? And by the time 2019 came, after Black Friday, we knew we needed an accountant. We got an accountant in January, and shout out Judith, that's Vika Finance. She did our books, and she said to us, had you not looked for an accountant, you guys were going to be in big trouble. Because the account we had generated over 5 million rands at that point, you know.
That it requires registration.
Yeah, you know, and you know, just filing for the taxes and stuff. And she sent us, you know, the documents with the numbers. We're shocked, we're in awe. But we realized how much stock we had accumulated at that point, you know. So the biggest lesson for me that I got from there was,
and you were receiving the stock on credit.
Initially, but now we were really, you know,
Pumping.
spending our money and stuff. The biggest lesson that I learned was a lot of times when you're going through adversity, when you're going through a tough time, it's either you're going to fold and blame everything, or you realize that God is trying to tell you something. You know, there's a bigger picture. Because I was going to be comfortable in that store. Yeah. You know?
Can I ask you a bit of a challenging question?
Yes, sir.
Which is, why is it about our women, our ladies, our girls that they want hair, or they're so excited about hair that is not from their race? And how do you think about the fact that people say we're the only race, as a black race, that seems to be interested in hair from other races? Yeah.
Okay, so first things first. The way our hair grows, it grows in curls. Yeah. Right? Black people's hair. It grows in curls. So it's very difficult for you to grow your hair and for it to be long as a black woman. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. Because they want the long look, right? But it's very difficult to achieve as a black woman. That's first things first.
It's achievable, but you have to straighten it first.
It's not just straighten it. The products that you're using. It's so much attention to detail. I do know some women who've grown their hair to 20 inches. But every time, there's a lot of work that goes into that. At the same time, these women have kids. They have husbands. They have jobs. You know? So this is the time that we're in. And to maintain black hair is not as easy as I know the other side of this conversation, but you know, speaking on the conversations that I've had with a lot of women about this, maintaining our hair is not as easy, especially if it's long. You know, it's very difficult. Getting cornrows is not something that happens over 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
You have to be there for 2-3 hours.
You know, or to get braids, 5 hours, or you know, so it becomes very challenging. And a wig is like a cap. She's just gonna put it on top of her hair, and she can go and look presentable in the world, and you know, have that confidence that if she didn't have time to get her hair done, when she got in the workplace, she was gonna feel like she's not presentable enough. Or I do know also, colonization has a huge role to play with it. Indoctrination has a huge role to play with it. They have marketed this thing to us, right? This is the reality on the ground. You know, the machine that these people...
The matrix.
The matrix is extremely powerful. And even if you look at like our children from a young age, now I've seen a lot of young girls playing with black dolls. But for the most part, you'll find that a lot of girls get white Barbie dolls. So this thing starts from such a young age. I wouldn't necessarily blame our women for that. You know, the system has set it up in this way. That's why you find these people that bleach their skin.
That's terrible.
You know,
That's the worst one.
yeah, that's the worst one. You know, it's not just the hair. There's a lot of things. Even us right now, I'm Zimbabwean, you're Tswana, but we're communicating in English.
Yes, yes.
That is a part of this problem that we have.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, which is why I'm also very excited just to, you know, take a short left.
So English has made it easier to communicate.
Exactly. But that's also because of the borders.
Yeah.
Because I find that since I came to South Africa, I will meet a Pedi having a conversation with the Zulu. The Zulu speaking Zulu, the Pedi speaking Pedi, but they both understand each other.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so who's to say that if English was not introduced into our system, we were not going to understand each other?
We're still going to find a way to communicate.
Exactly. Who's to say that our ancestors before colonization were not communicating?
Yeah. Now, in terms of the current business model, what has changed since you started? What is the setup like?
So, post 2019, COVID happened.
Yes.
Right? When COVID happened, a lot of the clients that were really holding us down lost their jobs. And they will still come to the store. On Saturday, we serve drinks. So they'll come on Saturday and say, I don't have money to buy, but I've supported you for a long time. I just want to get some drinks, you know? And we get to talking to them, and they'll always all say, how do we get into this business? You know, so the great idea of the Shara Masterclass was born because of COVID. We've built a leg of the business that's become so strong and so impactful. We have trained over 5,000 women to start their own businesses in the beauty industry, you know, which is something that for me...
So how does it work practically, the Shara Masterclass?
It's a 4-day course where we teach you everything that we've learned, the most important parts of the business, how to make a wig, you know, how to market your business, how to dye the hair, how to condition the hair, you know, just we just train the women to be the best hairdressers and business women in the beauty industry.
Wow.
You know, that's exactly what we do. It's a 4-day course. We have a beginner's class and an advanced class every single month. And every single month it's sold out. I'm going to send you the footage of the one we finished last week, just so you can maybe, you know,
so
place
how many
it.
people per class? What sort of numbers are we talking?
20 people per class. So we do 2 classes, beginners and advanced. So 40 people every month. Yeah.
And then you unleash them into the marketplace. Is it then becomes a franchise model, or how does it work?
No, not a franchise model. They build their own businesses, and we supply them the hair at wholesale price. The most difficult thing about hair, there's no union that says this is the standard that we're playing by as far as the hair. So these guys, the Chinese, can just send in whatever hair and lie to you that it's this grade when it's actually a different grade. You know, so we've put in place systems where we test every single piece of hair that comes into our company. You know, so which
quality control.
The quality control, the quality control is pretty intensive at Shara Hair. So we've sort of taken away that whole thing where people end up complaining online about a new business that just started, and they tarnish your image. You know, and it wasn't even your fault because the supplier sold you nonsense, you know. So we supply, we put them in a wholesale program. We call it the Shara Hair Wholesale Program, where they start getting the hair to wholesale from us.
And is a particular location where this happens? So
we have, our main store is in Braamfontein, and we have another store, the premium store in Rivonia. So the masterclass happens in Braam. But we've been able to also take the masterclass on tour. The same tour we did with the hair, we've taken the masterclass on tour.
Wow.
We've gone to Cape Town, we've trained people. We've gone to KZN, we've trained people. We've gone to the Eastern Cape, we've trained people. We've gone to Harare, Zimbabwe, we've trained people. We've gone to Botswana, Gaborone, we've trained people. Yeah.
That's my home. That's where I come from.
Yeah.
Where are you based in Botswana, and someone listening to you in Botswana, what are you saying to them?
In terms of my business?
Yes, in terms of being part of your business or participating in what you're trying to do.
I believe that in the 21st century, especially in the digital age, the most important thing is for every individual to have a skill that they can make money with their 2 hands. Because there's now robots coming to take everyone's jobs. There's AI coming in to, it just does everything better than, you know, most of what society is today by 2030 is going to be different. You know, I'm not too sure if the customer service part of it, the relationship that comes with my barber. Every time I see my barber, it's a therapy session. I'm not sure if the robot can offer that. So I really feel like if you don't have an opportunity, come to the masterclass. We'll train you how to start your own business. And yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And are you making millionaires then? What's happening? These people, once they are trained, are you able to speak of success stories?
A lot of success stories, and I would like at the end of this episode I could send some videos of people sharing their salons. We have students who have better salons than us. It's like the craziest thing. You know, a lot of people have been able to even end up branching out and doing bigger things than us. You know, so
Can you give one or two examples without mentioning names?
Yes, there's a lady from Lesotho who is, she literally orders 100,000 rands worth of stock every week, but that's because she is the queen of the niche. You know, the quality that she has consistently, and the key thing with what we're doing is that Tanya is, her biggest strength is identifying the next style before it's hot. And because we have the relationship with the Chinese, she sends the style to them and they make it, usually 5,000 pieces minimum. When they arrive here, we are also, because of my marketing skills, we are able to make the style hot in the market. You know, I have so many examples, and this is what has made us the most money. So a lot of these ladies are benefiting from us being able to understand what's coming. And also, if it's not coming, we know what's actually hot, and we can actually make it hot. You know, so
just by marketing it in a certain way.
I come from the entertainment industry. The most famous females in South Africa are my friends. You know, so we send them this hair, they post it, and you know, you were mentioning one of the big ladies in Botswana. You know, and she promotes for Shara hair. So immediately, a lot of the girls, you know, are following people, because life right now is all about community. The communities that are online. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is your message to people out there in the bigger Africa? By that I mean in Botswana, in the rest of Africa. Do you have a message for your business in terms of what you want to communicate to them?
Not necessarily just about my business. It's more Africa uniting. You know, I'm very excited about what's going on with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger.
Yeah, the Sahel countries. Those
you know what
and
they're
Chad
doing.
has joined in.
Exactly what they're doing, just opening up the borders,
getting
and
real independence from France. You know, that's what they're doing.
Exactly, 100%. When I think about it, I always refer back to music. The Nigerian music industry is the biggest music industry on the continent. That country has 200 million people.
Plus.
You know, plus America's 300. You know, so they're literally almost the size of America.
America is 350 thereabouts. Yeah.
Yeah. So because of that, like
300 plus.
you don't need 50% of the market to get rich. You know, if you got 5%, you know, you're strong. Same thing with East Africa. You know, they've been able to come together, you know, and they're doing amazing. In East Africa, the artists are living better than the American artists. In Southern Africa, there's 400 million of us. Kudos to Botswana. You know what I mean? For like letting the guys come in, you know, my Zimbos, you know, are now have a place where they're comfortable.
We're now busy legitimizing them, giving them papers now.
100%. And I feel like if we're able to open up the borders, open up trade, I think that we are sitting on a gold mine. So I'll just say that let's unite, let's travel to each other's countries before we travel overseas.
Yeah.
You know, let's see what opportunities lie within Southern Africa before we go anywhere else.
Yeah. No, a lot of businesses have come through, and I teach about this. It's called a valley of death, where a lot of businesses collapse before, you know, having an upward trajectory. How did you survive this valley of death? What do you think are the key ingredients that helped your company survive when 90% of businesses collapse?
business is such a difficult thing because you have to fully commit to it. When I say fully commit to it, I mean spending time on weekends drinking with your friends like a normal person. You need to forget it, especially before your business has really come together. You need to commit to that thing the same way you commit to raising your child. And I mean, today we're not committing enough to raising our children, you know, so we need to go harder than that. It needs to become your life, you know, your contact list. A lot of people are shy to sell and educate themselves and go learn, just go ask for help. The clip that I saw, Pastor Joylene was talking about how there's help everywhere. You know, it's almost like we're all so arrogant to even go and get new
clip
information.
you saw in the interview I did of Pastor Joylene.
Yes. Yes. And she was talking about getting help. And a lot of people are not willing to say, I do not know. I do not know about TikTok. How can you help me? You know, I own a business. I wasn't quick enough to TikTok because I was busy with like selling hair. I went to a TikTok influencer and asked her, how are you doing this thing? Exactly what she told us is what we just took and did. And our TikTok is on over 200,000 people now.
Wow.
Just off of asking one person, like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
You know?
How did you do? How can I do what you've done?
Exactly. A lot of times you think the people are not going to give you the information. They're going to give it to you. But a lot of times when people ask, they don't apply it. And they think that maybe they were told the wrong thing. You have to go on and do your own research and make sure that you're fully invested in what you're doing.
Yeah. You mentioned Pastor Joylene, and I know she's your shiro or your hero, depending on how she's certainly your mentor.
Yeah, she definitely is.
I'm interested in knowing how that mentorship started and what benefits you've had from it.
Yeah. The crazy part about it is she's my sister. You know, we're related. I do not know how. I'm sorry to say, but I met her in 2020.
Same father, same mother.
No. She's sorry, my cousin sister.
Hey, okay.
My cousin. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, she calls me her brother, so now she literally feels like my sister.
Yeah.
We literally live in the same area. Like we're literally like in two neighboring estates. So that relationship has gotten stronger and stronger over time. But I met her in 2020. I was going through a tough time. I'd lost my little brother at the time. So spiritually, I wasn't there. And my actual sister was like, you know that we have a cousin who is a pastor, right? And if you need counseling, just go see her. And I called her and I went to see her and she helped me get out of that depression. You know, that was the first step. And then during those conversations, we got to talking about business. She's given me a lot of advice and taught me how to become a better leader. Because obviously, with my background, I didn't really go for much training. You know, I was learning everything as I went, as everything progressed. So she then took me under her wing and taught me how to sort of have conversation with my employees, because before it was, you're messing up, and I'm always shouting and not trying to understand what's going on the other side, until I started realizing that a lot of times these people are going through their own things. So as much as they're working for you, but they're still people at the end of the day. She taught me that. Before that, I was so tough on my employees. So she's literally my business mentor. And I told her earlier on this year that the goal is to get to a place where we do 70 million rands in a year. And she says, why so little? Why are you aiming so low? Wow. And she says,
that made you say, wow.
That made me say, wow, so you believe in me that much, And from that day, I realized I had to get to work. I've been working really hard this year, so I'm pretty excited for where we're going.
And how soon will you attain that goal and exceed it?
2025.
Wow.
We're going to attain the goal in 2025.
Wow.
Very seldom do I say something and not figure out a way to make it happen. Also, I'm speaking from a place where I know my previous numbers. So I really, really want to take it there. And the beautiful thing is we've expanded into Botswana, into Zimbabwe. We've opened stores in these places. And we really plan on really making a real impact, a positive impact on, those communities and societies.
Given what mentorship has done for you, specifically with Pastor Joylene, what do you say to those who are watching you on the issue of finding mentors and on the issue of getting that help to help them to handhold them to get them through the difficult patches?
Yeah, I think mentorship is one of the most important things because a lot of times we see the world from our perspective. And then when you have someone with experience who's gone through what you've gone through and more, just talking to you about how you need to perceive your situation, it's one of the most important things that have happened to me. Before, I thought my employees knew what the company's mission was. And then until she walked in and said, they actually don't know what your mission is. From the day that we were able to put the mission up on the walls, people started operating on a different level. So there's a lot of things that you can't see in your business. Just find someone who's close to you or who's, in your reach. Today the beautiful thing is there's social media. So just reach out to people and just try find, a mentor. It's very, very important to get a mentor because there's a lot of things that you don't understand about your business that you don't have to make the mistakes yourself. So yeah.
So is there a before after scenario that you can share? Before mentorship and after mentorship?
Yeah.
In terms of practical terms.
Yeah, that one of like literally putting the mission on the wall. Before, I think a lot of the hairdressers behaved as if they were just hairdressers. Until we put the mission on the wall and, literally states that we are a global brand that is going to be competing all over the world, and stating the cities that we're going to open the next stores in. Before we open Botswana, before we open Zimbabwe, we put this on paper. So every time we achieve a goal, I notice everyone getting a lot more serious, taking themselves a lot more serious.
Yeah.
To a point where sometimes I'm even scared. Like, these people are really becoming like the leaders we need them to be.
Yeah, you shared the setback of being robbed once.
Yeah.
Are there any other challenges and setbacks that you had to deal with that you would want to share?
We've not only been robbed by people outside, but people within the business, which is what taught us systems, the importance of systems. So this is what we the first quarter of the year, we spend our time investing in our systems and trying out the new solutions that are coming out because we want to stay ahead.
Tell me about the robbery.
Just
the internal one.
The internal one, that we had a recent one, but because the systems were intact, we were able to get to it much faster. This lady just, had some hair that she was supposed to fix, bleach the knots and stuff. And she did that. She did do her job, but did a little bit extra and put the hair in her handbag when it was time to go home, and the cameras then came together. We got that. But the biggest one was in 2019 where we had to fire our whole team because they were now...
All the employees?
All of them, because they were now... And at the time it was like, I think 5 employees. They were working together to cover the tracks of how they were stealing from the company and sharing the money. Because that's the period we were traveling a lot.
How did they do it?
It was pretty simple. Our systems went intact, so they will be able to act like they sent the hair out and it was damaged or something, and it's in the returns box. If the hair is not high quality, we put it in the returns box, and we allow the people to put offers on the hair. Yeah.
Well, having talked about the setbacks and the challenges, time to talk about the triumphs.
Yeah.
Are there any significant triumphs? Those moments where, you can really blow your horn and say, there I was blessed. There I succeeded.
Yeah. I think right now the success of the Shara Business Masterclass is very, very close to my heart, So us just being right now I'm catching a flight to Zim. I hope this is not airing, it has to air after.
Yeah, no, it does.
I'm catching a flight to Zim tomorrow because we're going to sit with the government because they are interested in us bringing the masterclass to Zimbabwe, which is going to be much better because if they are sponsoring the students, all we have to do is come and train, So for me, that's the biggest one because I can see how the impact that we have had on so many women, Funny enough, when we're sitting outside, oh yes, I brought you a gift, right?
Wow.
I brought you a gift. I brought you some Shara hair.
Okay.
It seems to me maybe, you don't appreciate the fact that African women are wearing this, but I know there is someone in your life who would love,
What's inside?
So what's inside this one is a wig.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the wig. Let me just take it out of this packet for you.
Is this one Brazilian or Peruvian?
This is Peruvian. This is a 13A Peruvian.
Is this someone's hair?
Just a bob.
But is it originally someone's hair?
Yeah, originally, yes.
That spooks me a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So you wear this and you are talk of town, eh?
Yes.
Okay.
You wear this and you get whatever you need to get done with the ultimate confidence.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
How do you keep it on? How do you keep it from falling?
This strap right here just
Oh.
holds on to the back of your
Okay.
head. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And
This is
also
interesting. And this one would retail for how much?
1.7, 1,700 rands.
Okay.
I'm
It's
sure
not cheap, man.
it's so cheap, right?
It's not cheap.
No, it's very cheap.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's very affordable.
Okay, have that conversation.
We are one of the more affordable brands that sell high quality in the country. I'm proud to say that even when we came in, that was our strategy. We pushed down the prices of the market. Everything was overpriced.
What is this?
So this is a brand that we own called Ayomi Keratin.
Ayomi.
Ayomi Keratin, yes. To take care of the hair. Yeah. So we didn't name it Shara because we didn't want anyone to feel like they couldn't use our product because we are competing with them in the hair space. So we gave it a different brand.
Does it have a special meaning, Ayomi Keratin?
It does. Ayomi is Tanya's little brother who passed away's name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we decided to name it Ayomi Keratin.
It's a nice name.
Yeah.
So what does this do for hair?
That's a lusterizer. It keeps it looking healthy, looking fresh, and smelling good. Yeah.
Lusterizer.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this one.
That's a serum. It makes your hair look like you just bought it today. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a silicone serum.
But you've noticed that us men, we don't have time for this hair, you know?
Are you sure?
Well, tell me more.
I think we're in a different time, man. Like, a lot of the guys, I don't know if you've seen the guys whose hair is very black. When you look at the guy, like, that hair is unnaturally black. Yeah, I mean, guys are painting their hair. You know,
You have lots of customers who are male.
No. We mainly focus on women.
Okay.
We consider ourselves a women empowerment business.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about this one?
That is the wax that makes your hair stay intact. When you style the hair, even if the wind comes, it doesn't fly away.
Okay. And am I also getting blessed with this one?
All of this is for you, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So much generosity. Thank you. Oh, it's the honorarium that I talk about in the invitation. All right.
Yeah.
This is powerful. Thank you. I appreciate this. And guys, yeah, check it out. Check it out.
Your ladies definitely want this.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, don't be shy. Come to Shara here.
Yeah. I've started on this show talking about the losers seminar. By that I mean, what are the things that we can learn from losers? In other words, what are the things that you are avoiding to make sure that you're successful as a businessman? That also goes into your business philosophy.
Yeah. I think the most important thing is learning to accept the fact that losing is a part of the journey. If you refuse to change, don't expect different results. When you lose, just know that there's something that you didn't do right. So always be willing to learn and study and upskill so that you can win. But just trust me, on the next level that you're gonna get to, you're gonna lose again.
Yeah.
Because there's always lessons to be learned.
But the 90%, what are they doing wrong? Why so many of our businesses dying?
Misinformation, and I honestly feel like in the time that we live in, if your business fails, especially in like retail or anything that has to do with people, I'm not going to talk about the tenders. That one, I don't know.
No, you won't. Yeah. It's not your space.
It's not my space, yeah. But if you're in retail, anything that has to do with people, it's just research. Please just research. Understand that TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Google are some of the most important platforms you will ever come across. not just important but powerful. They can change your life in a space of a month if used right. Yeah.
Where are the resources for all that? I mean, or do they have to come to your training to learn about this?
Yes, they do. They do have to come to the training.
Because if you had to share the curriculum, what is it in a nutshell?
In the beginning, we teach you how to make a wig, right? Most women, when they make wigs, they make them by hand. They sew them by hand. But if you look at all our wigs are machine made. So already you have a competitive advantage if you come to our training because you're going to be one of the few people in your community to be able to make what we call a factory-made wig. When they say factory-made wig, they mean wigs made in China.
Yeah.
Right? Because they are the only ones that know how to sew wigs, right? But we are now doing it ourselves, and we are training our students to do that. And we also have, so we teach you how to make 2 wigs, and you leave with those 2 wigs. We teach you how to, fix the hair, because the hair needs to be conditioned after wearing it several times. It needs to be washed so that it's fresh. We teach you how to do that and what products to use and what not to use. And we have a business day on the 3rd day. Pastor Joylene is a resident. She speaks every Thursday, which is the last day. I speak on marketing. I teach you how to market your business.
So you assemble all your students, as it were, to receive this teaching every Thursday?
Yeah.
Is it online?
No, this is physical in the store. We are actually launching our online course. We've just finished shooting our online course. Right now we're just busy with the tools to make sure that when we roll it out, we roll it out in the proper way,
Okay.
Yeah.
This is good. Yeah. So, all right. And you said the whole thing takes how long?
It's a 4-day course.
Okay.
The beginners is a 4-day. The advanced is a 3-day. So
Okay.
it's 7 days. Monday to Thursday, and then the following week, Monday to Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing, actually, on the business day, we have prominent business people like yourself coming to share their stories with our students. So I would like to extend an invitation to you.
The invitation is hereby accepted.
Thank you.
I will definitely come when I'm properly invited. I'll come all the way.
Okay.
All right. Just before I ask you about the future in terms of your 20-year plan, you can think about that in the meantime.
Yeah.
I want you to speak to some of our people who may not have, like you, gone academic route, gone to university or whatever, and to demonstrate to them or to illustrate to them how you've succeeded in spite not having formal education. I know that we have people like Steve Jobs, we have people like Bill Gates that have never been to school but have succeeded at the highest level. You have a message for those people?
Yes, I do. When you are in that particular predicament, you need to make sure that you follow the money. I know a lot of us dropouts, we follow passion way too much. Passion, but a lot of times passion doesn't pay the bills. You know what I mean? So what you need to do is, passion is very, very important. But whilst being passionate, make sure you follow the money. Just study the people in whatever industry you're in that are making money and study what they're doing. And find the key points that make them different to everyone else, to the 90%, right? And once you know exactly what those things are, start studying the future. Because you cannot do what they're doing because they're already at a higher place. Once you study the future, then you're going to understand how to apply yourself right now to make sure that you're successful in the future.
Okay. Let's talk now about the future. I see a billionaire in the making. What will that life look like when you've attained the big B and then you've attained those goals? What do you see in the crystal ball a decade, 2 decades from now?
The biggest thing for me, coming from being inspired and watching hip-hop artists, flaunt wealth in our faces the whole time. Initially, I cared so much about materialism, material things. It was all about material things, but without real meaning behind it. So lucky enough for me, I started making money at a young age, and I started buying all these things that I wanted, and realized quickly that it didn't make me feel fulfilled. I would be happy in my new Mercedes for the next 4 months. after that, I'm looking at the next Mercedes. When I'm on the road, I'm thinking, that's a better Mercedes than mine. I want that. Then I realized that I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. For me, I want to impact the African continent in a way that we are going to be a superpower in the world. We're going to create our own things. You know, we're starting with hair, and I kind of agree with the ideology that, you know, we need to be proud of who we are, you know. But I'm against people who think that we can fight the hair, you know, and say, no, let's not do this. Because guess what? We're indoctrinated, and these people are infatuated with this thing. I think we can take ownership of it and then slowly transition from there. When we start influencing it ourselves, then we can start really fixing the narratives. My goal is to make sure that we are a powerhouse that, you know, creates our own products, exports our own products, and also making sure that our economies are based on the stuff that we are producing.
Speaking of producing, any plan to manufacture here?
Yes.
And how far are those plans?
In the immediate future, I wouldn't want to give out like the actual date, but we're very, very close. We're very, very close.
It's going to be a fully fledged factory?
Yes.
Does that mean you'll be going to the Peruvian women to harvest from them directly? Or the Brazilians?
Not necessarily the hair.
How does it work?
Not necessarily the hair, but product. But the product should take care of the hair. You know, I feel like it's that would be a much better start and allow us to really build our capital.
Okay. And in terms of branches, what countries are you looking at?
Lesotho, Namibia are literally like in the plans for this year. Yeah.
And then from then on?
And then we go
West Africa, Nigeria, Nairobi?
Yeah, you know, I will go to be honest with you, I will go to Ghana, yes. I would go to the UAE before I went to West Africa. It's extremely competitive. And those people are so smart. I don't want to compete with the Nigerian and the Nigerian market. What I want to do is to go to the places where...
Is there a huge market for this type of hair in UAE?
Everywhere, wherever there's black people. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, white people do wear wigs.
Oh.
It's not just us.
So you have customers there as well?
Not that much, because they prefer to go to white businesses.
Not because you don't have what they need.
Not because you don't have what they need, because they prefer to go to white businesses. And also, they love tapers where her hair might be up to her shoulder, but they call them clip-ons. They'll clip on inside here, hair same color as hers, and then now it's so long.
Yeah.
When you meet her, you think her hair is so long. But she actually has
just extended it.
12-inch on her, but she extended it, yes.
Yeah. And it seems so seamless. It seems so natural.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. I don't know whether there's anything you want to add by way of a final message. I'll give you that opportunity while you're thinking about it. Here's a chance for you to ask me a question.
How did you get into real estate? I love this. You know why? Because I'm also a podcaster. So I'm more comfortable asking.
Initially, at the very beginning, it was accidental, in the sense that I was trying to deal with a difficult landlady who was asking for rent at the wrong time. You know, she would want me to advance her rent, and it was leading to many arguments, because in the middle of the month I wouldn't be prepared to advance her when I was just given her. So that led me to go house hunting. Eventually I bought my own house, but after I bought my own house and I got a house for the business that I was running, which was a law firm, I became a little comfortable until there was a threat to my profession. In the sense that I had a problem with the Law Society. I talk about in the book. You have to buy the books here. Only
How much is it?
$350.
Can I put money down right now?
Yeah. But in rands it's $450. Yeah. No, I'm talking pula.
Listen to these concubines.
No. That is the market. That is the way things are.
It's okay. I'll put down $600 for the book.
Oh, thank you.
The value that I'm going to get. From
Wow,
that
thank you so much. Mwah, thank you. I bless the money. I bless the owner of the money.
Thank you.
I'll also sign the book for you. But having said that, you read in the book the challenges that are around the law society, which led me now to look for an alternative career. So real estate was, look, what if I lose my profession? So that's how it started. And sometimes I want to thank my enemies who pushed me in this direction, because it worked out beautifully. And then I fell in love with it because I read every book there was to read on real estate, the Kiyosakis and all the Kellers, all these books. And then I then applied it, and it took off. It took off more than I would ever have imagined. That's why I can afford to have a podcast.
Which is very interesting for me, because I wanted the viewers to notice how, when I was telling my story, when we got robbed, that's the day my life changed.
Yes.
You know, so when the threat comes,
Yeah.
a lot of times God is trying to tell you something. So don't look at these things as negative things. Always find the silver lining.
You've already started, so give them your final message, something motivational, something to leave them with. You've more or less halfway through that.
Okay. In 2018, when I started, when we started those tours in 2018, in 2019 we started crossing the border and going to Botswana. When we got to Botswana, we did a pop-up at a place called Black Bistro. Okay.
That's my restaurant.
That's your restaurant. Yes. We did.
It was then, yeah.
Yeah. It was. We did a pop-up at Black Bistro. Whilst we were in this restaurant, funny enough, when we did this pop-up, this is one of the first places where we did not have a lot of people come in this day. And so we're sitting around, and you happen to be there in that restaurant. And I'm just forgetting your manager's name. I'm just forgetting his name.
It's either Lefa or Wisdom, one of them. 2019. 2019, it could have been Wisdom.
He was Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So shout out to Wisdom, right? So Wisdom, he spoke to, obviously we connected because we're both from Mogobe.
Yeah.
And then he says, since you're a business person, there's a big business person to talk to there. I said, really? What does he do? He said, real estate. And I was like, okay. I said, okay. And he says, listen, you have to do it. He owns this building. I said, okay, let's go, introduce me, And we came, we sat with you, we had a brief conversation. I didn't have the money, but I said to you, I want to have a store in one of your buildings, And you said, no, we'll talk about it, and he'll give you the details. He did send us the details, the pricing. Couldn't afford it, And so that happened. That's what, 6 years later, 5 years later, I am invited to come speak at a year-end function for the skyrocketing team. Guess who's sitting right across me? Guess who's sitting right across me?
Yeah.
And so the conversation starts, but from the time I sat down, I knew this face. I wasn't sure. I was thinking it's a very famous person. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I leaned over and I asked Pastor Joylene, who's this man? Because I know this man. And she says, he's a property mogul from Botswana. I sat there staring at you, and I started a conversation, and I asked what properties you own. Then you mentioned the building that I mentioned in.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's where I know this man from.
Yeah.
So whatever opportunities are right in front of you, take them, because right now we are having a conversation about Shara here moving into one of your buildings.
Wow. And that it shall do. Yeah, we do have plenty of spaces. We even have a warehouse in case you're interested in manufacturing or distributing in Botswana. We have warehouses.
Wow.
Yeah, we have several warehouses. Having said that, I think this wraps up our conversation. Can you please share with them all your contact details, where they can find you?
Darryl Nyamz on all platforms. That's DARRYL_NYAMZ. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Please get in touch with me. Whatever you want to know, just slide in the DMs. Don't be afraid.
I'm so excited. I'm so thankful. I'm so blessed. It remains for me to thank you so much for sharing your story. Dear viewer, strike that notification bell if you haven't done so already. Hit that subscribe button and let's stay in touch. Like I said, the book is available. Retails only for $350 in Botswana, $450 in SA. And please, let's do business. We also have the 2 mentorship programs if you are interested. The one is the real estate one. The other, of course, is the entrepreneurship one. And there's other businesses we can do together. Have a look at my profile. Check me on the socials and stay in touch. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being my guest, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Mm.